Well, welcome, beloveds. If you're here for the first time, welcome. And of course, if you are here because you've been here before, welcome back. Today, I have a special guest. And my special guest is someone I've known for many years, many years. Her name is Katherine Lawrence, and she's a Stanford and Cornell certified nutritionist in Southlake. Katherine reversed stage 4 endometriosis and infertility using nutrition. She went on to have 3 sons and has helped thousands of students in the community heal by focusing on disease prevention and reversal through nutrition and proper food preparation. Katherine, most people, and we're just going to dive right in.
Okay.
Most people want to eat healthy. They really do. So how important is it to reduce or even eliminate meat consumption?
Well, first, thank you so much for having me on, Gigi. I'm honored.
Oh.
So this is a big question right out of the gate.
Yes, ma'am.
So there's a lot of reasons to consider reducing or eliminating meat and animal products from the diet. In terms of heart disease, meats are our primary sources of saturated fat beyond cheese. And there's a lot of new research, especially looking at saturated fat and what it does with our body. And number one, it stimulates our liver to start producing more cholesterol. So we don't need that. Our liver can produce all that it needs based off of plants that we eat. So this triggers this extra production. We also know, pardon me, we also know that this saturated fat works in the brain as well.
Really?
Researchers who work with Alzheimer's patients and dementia patients, they find that those beta amyloid plaques, the little tangles that are found in Alzheimer's patient's brain, these are compiled of trans fats and saturated fats reacting with heavy metals in the brain and creating these beta amyloid plaques and then memory problems. Also, in regards to saturated fat, that's what triggers the production of these super LDL cholesterol bits that deposit in our brain and can affect our brain function. So there's a lot of reasons. It's also the latest research is strongly tied to breast cancer now, our intake of saturated fat. Yeah, so there's a lot of reasons. And so that's one with meat. Another one is that meat has cholesterol in it. So, so like us, if I eat a plant, if I eat some kale, my liver will make however much cholesterol I need for my brain and healthy muscle function. The same thing happens when a cow eats grass. His liver produces the cholesterol it needs. So it's different when I actually eat the cow. When I actually eat the cow, I'm going to get all the cow's cholesterol, right? And all that fattiness that's in his blood and everything.
Oh, that's important to know.
Yeah. And so when we eat an animal, we're eating what its liver said it needed instead of letting our liver decide. Also, the fat in meats can raise our blood pressure as well. And meat is devoid of our most important nutrient, which is fiber. There's no fiber in meat. And so that means that we need to eat a lot of fiber rich foods afterwards so that we can push that out of the gut. Yeah. And get that waste out of the body.
Oh, let me ask a question. Don't mean to interrupt. And you just said something really important. We should eat the fiber to help push that out. So I know in this country, we typically eat a salad, which has fiber in it. You usually eat that first. Do you suggest that we eat the salad after a meal, or does it matter?
I love salads, so I don't have anything against salads. I think it's fine to have them before. Truly, for someone who's going to eat, like if they're going to sit down and have steak or a piece of chicken, I would prefer they have a cup of beans afterwards, or at least half a cup, because a cup of beans has about 14 grams of fiber. Whereas a cup of veggies will have, like in a salad, will have about 5 grams of fiber.
I see.
So
Gotcha.
I really want that moving. The more fiber, the better. I think it serves a purpose before the meat. Fiber helps to build our gut microbiome and helps our good gut bacteria grow, so that when we do encounter the meat and all of the chemicals that come with it, our body is better designed to fight it. So two things. In the beginning, we want to have lots of fiber for a good microbiome, but then and afterwards, we want to have lots of fiber to push that out. So fiber has a lot of multi roles that are important before and after, if you're going to have.
See, very good. So we need to keep that fiber in our system before for those who eat meat, keep fiber in the systems before you eat the meat, after you eat the meat, so we can just push it through the intestines. Okay,
yeah, the goal really needs to be 40 grams of fiber a day.
Yeah.
And
the fiber is like a broom that sweeps the colon, would you say?
It does, but fiber also attaches to excess cholesterol.
It pulls that through as well.
It's the best way to naturally lower cholesterol. And then fiber removes excess hormones. Very, very important for women, premenopausal and going through menopause. And then it sets our gut microbiome. Fiber creates butyrate, this really beneficial gut enzyme that kills colon cancer cells.
Okay.
So most colon cancers, that's our most common cancer in the US, attributed to a low fiber diet.
Wow. Very good. Very good information. Thank you for sharing.
Jump right in.
I appreciate that. So now you probably have more to share about what was the impetus for you to begin your plant-based diet?
Well, I think you touched on it mostly.
I did a little bit.
I do want to give some background from South Louisiana. So I grew up on a rich Cajun diet, which I have a lot of love for, but didn't serve me well. So after eating that way, and those very, very low fiber, very low in vegetables, lots of meat, lots of cheese. And so that's how I ended up with that stage 4 reproductive disease and infertility. So that is what I was scheduled to have, a full hysterectomy, and I was told I would never have children. So that's what triggered me. Actually, my mom, she wanted to have grandkids and I was her only hope. So she made me go see a nutritionist, and that nutritionist educated me, saved my life, reversed with those diet changes, reversed all of my reproductive issues and helped me lose weight and go on to have the 3 boys that you mentioned.
Yes, those 3 sweet little children.
Yes.
Let's see. Okay, so I'm pausing here for a second because one of the things that we as Americans really, really love, and that's pizza. Pizza has lots of cheese on it.
It does.
Burgers have the option to have cheese on it. Is there a really good alternative, a vegan alternative to cheese?
I think that it depends on how you're using the cheese. And for starters, you didn't ask, but I want to tell you, cheese is the hardest thing for everybody to give up. It was the hardest for me. And it's because cheese has casomorphines in it. It's actual morphine. You are truly addicted.
Wow.
It is because if you think about it, when a mother has a baby, in order for that baby to survive, he has to latch, especially in the animal world before formulas were available. And so the mom releases this morphine in her breast milk so that every time the baby comes to nurse, he gets high and he's happy. And that's what happens to us with cheese. That is why cheese is a comfort food of most people, because it's actually little bit of a drug. So it depends how you want to use it. So for example, if I'm making queso or like a vegan mac and cheese for the kids, I like to use nutritional yeast in some type of non-dairy milk, like soy milk or something. When you heat it, it gets cheesy and it's the right texture for those kinds of foods. If I'm having a sandwich or a veggie burger and I want like that slice of cheese kind of thing, my favorite brand is, I like the Chow brand. I also like Follow Your Heart. Ooh,
that's a good
Follow
one.
Your Heart. So Follow Your Heart has a vegan Gouda. And when I get down to my Louisiana roots and I make a big pot of grits, I will cut up the vegan Gouda and stir it in there. It's, oh God, I feel like I'm back in my grandmother's kitchen. So it depends, how you want to use it. I do want to say the commercial cheese, like vegan cheeses, the replacements that are out there, I don't want to call them health foods. I want to
Right.
say they're healthier. They don't
Healthier.
have
We
the
don't want to eat a lot of those, do we?
right. They do have a lot of fat, but it's a much, much, much better alternative. They're not filled with hormones, female sex hormones. They're not filled with cholesterol. They wouldn't have any cholesterol because they're from a plant,
Right.
and they're typically lower in fat. But they do have a lot of fat. So I think it's your preference. I know on pizzas, people love Daya, but what I've heard, about a third of the population can't digest the Daya. It's made from pea protein, I think. And I am one of those people. I get kind of GI problems when I have Daya, but it does melt the best. So I would say try stuff out. And nutritional yeast, I have no problems with. You could
I
sprinkle
love
that
that.
on everything. Yeah, make mac and cheese, do queso with it. So many options there.
Yes, yes. Thank you for sharing that. And I stepped ahead when I asked that question. Let me go back to a question I wanted to ask. You know, it's challenging to move from eating meat to a plant-based diet. But we all want to eat healthy. And it can be confusing. Vegan, vegetarian, plant-based options. Would you explain the difference between the three?
Sure. So vegetarian, I'll start there, is typically the absence of meat. Often vegetarians will still consume eggs and dairy products. If they're pescatarian, then they include fish.
Right.
If they include eggs and dairy, that's technically considered a lacto-ovo vegetarian. And a pure vegetarian would be no animal products at all. So that's the definition of vegan.
Okay.
I don't personally identify as a vegan. I prefer whole food plant-based. I am plant-based because, ooh, I love them. Oreos are vegan, but they're not going to serve my body. Right? There's a lot of food that is devoid of these foods, but is not nutrient rich for me. So I prefer to describe the best ideal diet as one that's rich in plants, so plant-based. But I can tell you from all the research from a nutrition science perspective, the closer we get to pure vegetarian or whole food plant-based, the lower the disease risk. So a pescatarian is going to have less disease risk than typical American meat eaters. Lacto-ovo vegetarian will have a little bit less. As they move to pure vegetarian or plant-based, that's the minimal amount. That's the lowest risk of disease, like 60% lower rates of cancer, and just dramatic. So it's a direct correlation. The more you can remove the animal products, the better result with health that you get. But, every meal is a choice, and I try not to be hard on myself. That's also why I say plant-based, because, sometimes like we're at the kids' birthday parties and I want a cupcake or something, like it's, I think the important thing is that you make it something you can live with and that you can execute without identifying as good or bad. Oh, I was bad today.
Right, exactly, exactly. I think it's so important to be able to integrate the things that we would typically classify as bad, to incorporate that at a birthday party or at any kind of party, actually, so that you don't feel like you're denying yourself and depriving yourself.
Right. Sorry.
That doesn't work. No, go ahead.
It doesn't. I mean, God made all of this food to bless us. And not just to bless our health, but to give us satisfaction and enjoyment. And there's so many resources now for vegan and plant-based recipes. I'm eating the most delicious food of my life.
It is delicious, isn't it?
Yeah. And so it just takes some changing of habits
Yes.
and our normal instincts based off of how we were raised,
Yeah.
it just takes a little tweaking.
Well, sweetie, you have been such a wealth of a pool of information. And thank you so much for being willing to come on my channel and share all of this with us. We've come to the end of our time together. So I'm going to ask this one last question that I ask everyone. What is one golden nugget that you can leave with us today?
I'm going to say the more fiber you can get, the better. And if you need help with that, all of our classes are free. You can go to foodsaveme.com. Our schedule, yes, our schedule should be fully updated by the end of December, and you can find classes to support you on this journey. If you're looking for Alzheimer's prevention, heart disease reversal, type 2 diabetes reversal, cancer prevention, any of that. We even have an African-American nutrition class, or food addiction. That's popular in the beginning of the year too.
Yes.
So if you want help, if you want resources, if you want to dip your toe in the water and see, like, maybe I'll get a recipe or two, or maybe they can help me figure out how to get more fiber in the diet. What does that look like? Then visit our website, foodsaveme.com, the end of December, and we're here to help. We have tons of resources. It's totally doable, and you're going to feel so good.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Listen, everyone, through it all, be gentle with yourself. I'm Dr. G. I am a life coach. No, take that back. That's my old life. I'm a holistic life counselor, licensed Unity teacher, and whole life director, directing you back to source, and that's God, known by many names. Thank you so much. Katherine's information is going to be linked in the description box below this video, so be sure to check that out. Again, sweetie, thank you so much.
Love you. Bye, everybody.
Bye for now.
Bye.